Hello and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Traders pull $3 billion from crypto stablecoin USDC in 3 days. Could this be the end for USDC? Well, I wouldn't say it's the end. You can see that it started to get back to its peg. So that's definitely a positive thing and shows, it does seem to be that they have the capital to back up what they claim in terms of, the actual crypto coins being backed by an actual dollar. So that's a positive sign. I think the problem that we've got here is reputational damage. And that's going to be the thing that's going to be hard to recover from. That's the big problem here. So let's just get into the article and then I can give some more of my thoughts. Traders have withdrawn a net $3 billion from the crypto stablecoin USDC in the last 3 days as the fallout from the failure of Silicon Valley Bank spreads into the digital asset market. In a blog post late on Wednesday, Circle, the operator of USDC, said it had cleared, quote, substantially all, unquote, of the backlog of minting and redemption requests relating to USDC in recent days. A total of 3.8 billion of tokens were redeemed by investors since the weekend, and it had minted 0.8 billion of new coins, it added. The withdrawals, which represent almost 10% of stablecoin's total circulating supply, came after US-based Circle said it had 3.3 billion trapped at SVB. The bank was one of the main US banks used by crypto companies as the conduit between crypto and sovereign money for custody of Circle's deposits. Circle's USD coin is one of the linchpins of trading in digital asset markets. A stablecoin helps connect traditional and crypto markets, and traders use them like cash or a store of value between crypto trades. USDC typically tracks the value of the dollar 1 for 1, but traded as low as 88 cents after Circle admitted exposure to SVB. Its price rallied and it regained its dollar peg after US authorities moved to establish a rescue package for SVB's depositors, indirectly boosting confidence in crypto markets. Chief Executive Jeremy Allaire also said Circle would, quote, stand behind, unquote, the token and cover any shortfall using corporate resources, including external capital if necessary. Quote, the decision by US regulators to repay Silicon Valley Bank's unsecured deposits in full allowed the USDC price to recover, unquote, said Cristiano Ventricelli, an analyst at Moody's, the credit rating agency. Quote, otherwise, USDC could have suffered from a run and been forced to liquidate its assets, unquote. Circle has rushed to move the rest of the cash deposits for its reserves to other banks as jitters spread through the banking sector. Of the 9.7 billion in cash, 3.3 billion was at SVB. Last week, Circle moved 5.4 billion to US custody bank BNY Mellon. A further 1 billion was held with Customers Bank, a small Pennsylvania-based bank. Shares in Customers have dropped by a fifth in the past week amid nervousness in the US banking sector. Quote, I understand the flight to scale. It's the idea that these banks are too big to fail, and if something goes wrong, the US government will stand behind them, unquote, said Varun Paul, Director of Market Infrastructure at blockchain platform Fireblocks, who previously spent 14 years at the Bank of England. Quote, that may end up being true, it's just not an ideal situation, unquote. A person familiar with the matter said the company was, quote, comfortable, unquote, having moved the majority of its cash reserves to BNY Mellon, quote, for the foreseeable future, unquote. SVB's collapse also followed the demise of two other crypto-friendly banks in Signature and Silvergate, representing a blow to the industry's already thin access to the established banking system. Quote, it could have ended up much worse than it did. Some prices have bounced back, but this just shows how the second largest stablecoin is not stable, and that's very ironic, unquote, said Larissa Yorova, Deputy Head of the Centre for Digital Finance at Southampton Business School. So, there you have it. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is true that it would have been the saving of SVB that did actually save USD in the first place. That's possible. The only thing I will say, and I guess this is the thing where I'm taking things at face value here. When I read an article in a previous video, when they said how much it was 3.3 billion, but they said their total amount, and not to say that it's not a lot of money, of course it is, but compared to how much they said they had, it didn't seem like that would have been something that would have broke them. But I guess the problem is, like always, is what are they doing with the other money that they're holding? Are they literally just holding it there in reserve, or are they, trying to put that into other things to try and get more money? So are they, maybe putting it in crypto staking projects and things like that to try and get a return and get a yield? So if that is the case, then of course, if a bank run had have occurred on a higher scale and they couldn't have got their all of their money out due to obviously being in staking, locked in for like long periods of time and unable to just come out, then yeah, that would have definitely put them in a difficult position. But they have regained the peg, as I say, so it has restored confidence in them. And I think the problem here with this, as I said earlier, it's all about your reputation, right? It can take years to gain people's trust, and it can take seconds to lose it. And the problem here, as you've just seen from how many people have, come out in volume, not a lot of people now are going to trust USDC. And there are some people who probably just never will trust the USDC anymore. And I think the sad thing about this is that's not necessarily USDC's fault. It's not Circle's fault, right? It was the bank that was involved in shady practice, not Circle or USDC. So they've kind of been collateral damage in this situation. Now, I will say this: if obviously they haven't got the reserves just there, then again they're kind of doing the same thing as what a bank would do. They're gambling with the money that they should be keeping as reserves. So if that is the case, then yeah, you've kind of brought this on yourself also. But I don't know that, so I'm never going to just assume that that's what they're doing if I haven't got evidence to say that is the case. But yeah, if that is the case, then yeah, if they fail, then they fail. That's on them. They've obviously they've mishandled their situation, and they've mishandled the way they do their business. So if they fail from that, then they've got no one to blame but themselves. So what would I say from here? I'm not going to say that I think this is the end specifically right now, just from this one situation, but time will tell how this works out for them. I mean, Tether's got a really shady background. There's a lot of stuff going around about Tether that does make me question the legitimacy of them, but they're still here, right? They're still here. So I don't see why USDC couldn't necessarily still manage to get through this, but I do think they are going to have a loss of business from this. Yeah, there are going to be people who used to use USDC who will now be skeptical and be wary. And I do think there are some people who probably will just never go back to USDC anymore, because I think they're always going to have the back in their mind, this what happened in this scenario, and they'll be scared that this could happen again. So I do think they will have definitely lost some business from this. It is going to affect them 100%. But do I think it's the end? Personally, I wouldn't say so. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is the end for USDC? Do you think, this is something that they can get through? Do you think they can maybe regain back all their customer base? Let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. If you did like it, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.